I clicked record way too late for that. Kyle just did a big fat burp, but it's GripesCast episode 2. Welcome.
Kyle.
Kyle.
Was that Kyle?
Okay, we're both offended. We're both offended there.
Yeah, don't.
Apparently it's Johan.
I don't want to take that away from Johan. That was a great burp.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Give credit where it's due.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was
okay, look, I'm
monumental,
sorry.
man.
We've been friends for a very long time, but apparently I don't know you guys well enough to
distinguish our burp patterns.
To tell you guys apart.
Fake friend.
I need to work on that. I am very sorry.
You can't distinct us.
I can't distinct you.
No, I'm going to therapy for this.
I can't distinct you. Okay, yes. GripesCast.
Anyway, Arkin's here, guys. Hi, Arkin.
Hey, we have
special
a guest.
guest.
Yes, we have a guest for this episode. His
Yes.
name's Arkin.
Guest.
He was booked all through the week, but he managed to clear some space.
Very,
in
very
his
busy
schedule.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We managed to convince him that CleanFeed won't take his data if he gets on. So that's good. And Arkin, I
Had to
promise
hold
you,
his
your
hand.
data is safe.
Your data is safe.
You're fine, Arkin. You're
Yeah,
alright.
Bill Gates will only create 2 replicas of you. It's fine.
Yeah, that's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Yeah, usually
the lizard
there's a
people will
lot
not
of
be
them,
out
but
to
only
get
2?
That's
That's
fine.
okay.
Only 2.
Besides,
Yeah.
I need more.
Yeah, then you can have good conversations with yourself, okay? But too many, oh, that's not good.
Oh. Okay. Yes. Franco, Kyle, Johan, Arkin.
And the special, yes, and Arkin.
The special boy.
The special boy.
The special
Yes,
boy
the best
himself.
boy. I wanna like bring something up that's
Huh?
familiar to get Arkin comfortable with the type of talk that we
God.
have here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh.
Arkin,
Yeah.
you don't this is just based on how well I know you, but you wouldn't consider yourself as a neurotypical person, would you? In a few
What do you
ways.
mean
I
by
mean,
that?
I mean,
Insulting
all of
me,
us.
good sir?
No, I am absolutely
You
not
insulting me, man?
I was going to bring
What are
up.
you sizing me
I
up,
was
bro?
gonna ask. I was gonna ask. You have any quirky habits, interesting habits that people wouldn't gauge as neurotypical?
Okay, you keep using that term neurotypical. You gotta talk to me like I'm a toddler, dude.
Just any odd habits you seem to have that you feel like other people don't.
So, gee, I don't know. I'm not really sure what might be considered like not neurotypical or something, or whatever you call it.
Yeah. What would be some examples?
I guess not wanting to go outside and socialize. I suppose that's one. I mean, you don't have to talk about that, but that certainly is. I would say it's not typical. That's for sure.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
usually
it's not
people have the
typical
desire
because
for
it's
that.
a combination of both my fear of people and the trauma I've been through, which I'm not going to get into, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's understandable. I mean,
I was-
traumatic experiences. Yeah.
I was thinking more along the lines of you're walking by the road and then you kick a rock, let's say 3 or 4 times with your left foot. You're gonna have this unexplainable urge to kick the same rock 3 or 4 times with your other foot now in the exact same pattern.
Oh, that's what you mean. Well, sometimes I feel like just like screeching in a sense. Just like I'd be sitting there.
Don't we all?
then-
Don't we all though? Don't we
And
all?
then I get like the compulsion to just like contract my body and just like start screeching like I'm trying to cosplay The Exorcist.
mood?
I mean, like in a
Yeah,
public
I
setting,
think
people would be freaked out by that, but in a personal setting, you know, I feel like we'd all do something similar. Like, how about you two?
That
I mean, yeah,
That's
we-
definitely not. That specifically is not typical. But I think a lot of us have wanted to like punch something before, like maybe like scream into something before, right?
I
Maybe
would
not
love
scream
to,
to
like-
people.
I would love to like just like get an area where I could just like take a bat and a hammer to like anything I could find, man.
Hey, there are things like that. There are places where you go
Yeah.
in, like pay a small fee, and you can just break shit. Which honestly seems like a lot.
But then again, I think this is what therapy is for. I'm not quite sure if that's the most healthy way to do it. Oh yeah, I mean, don't mean
Come
to
on,
be the
man.
scientist here,
You know how expensive therapy is.
That's true.
True.
Well, that's what friends are for. Then talk to your friends. Talk to someone. You know, occasionally
I'm not
physical
sure if-
violence is not
I'm
exactly.
Sure if talking to you guys would help my.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
But you
I'm
two,
joking.
like Franco.
No, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Franco, Kyle, like, how about you two? Anything like that? The example I gave earlier with like the kicking rocks, like in a numerically
Yeah.
symmetrical way.
I've-
That's
I've
actually
got-
my
I've got a
personal
couple.
example. I do that.
Yeah.
I do that.
Yeah, that's.
And so for Arkin, let's say he screeches and he contracts his muscles or he does
Well,
those things. So
something that I would say that weird habit I have is I'm kind of. Oh, I'm not sure if I should say this. I'm kind of methodical when it comes to eating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I know it seems like I'm just a black hole inhaling literally everything, but I try to, like, figure out, like, how many bites do I have left before I finish, like, my food. Because I
You
want to,
count
like,
the
be able-
bites?
in a sense, yes.
Yeah,
I like to,
yeah, I
like,
do
eat
too,
my
yeah.
food all as once, rather than just, like, eat one thing and then eat another. So I, like, take a bite of, like, rice, and then I take a bite of, like, chicken, and I keep, like, doing a cycle of that until, like, I have last bites of, like, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that when I take my last bite, I'll be done with everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
So
way
you
of
coordinate your
segmenting or
meals.
like categorizing.
Interesting.
Yeah, food and just the meal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I did that too. I feel like that I did that ever since I was a child. Like if I had in the Philippines it's called ulam, when I had like ulam and like rice, you know, together. Like you want to save an equal amount of each for the last bite, right?
To make sure you have an even ratio of like ulam
Yeah.
to rice.
Oh,
ratio.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
like-
so
yeah, like sometimes
you
you
want
just-
it to all be
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
Sometimes you just leave the actual food alone just to have a bit more rice, so that you can have.
Yeah. Like you want to
Yeah,
when you
That's
eat a
not
burger.
odd. That's just being economical about it.
that's true. Yeah.
It's all of us just
when
trying
you
our
eat a
best to
burger,
conserve.
the best bite is always the first bite, and when like I guess you want to recapture that like sensation of just having like you don't want to end the meal with just rice, do you? Or else that would seem unsatisfactory,
true,
right?
yeah.
So, yeah.
Unless you're
But
just, like,
yeah,
cleaning up the
I was
plate.
asking Franco and like you, Kyle. Like, do you have any specific odd habits that you two have?
I mean, I drum on surfaces all the time, just like.
what a musician!
Oh wait, no, I remember that. No, I
I
remember that. Yeah, way back then, way back then. So it's definitely not a recent odd habit for you. You
Nah.
Oh, really? Before he
Hit
played the
surfaces?
drums, like before.
Yeah, even no. Even.
Yeah,
Wow, that
Yeah.
sounds
Oh, wow.
like... Sounds
he'd
like
tap on a
something that has to do
surface
with
like they're
anxiety.
bongos.
Yeah, and like, sometimes he would even extend to kicking shit. Like I'll just
Oh
be
wait,
like,
wait. I think okay, no, Franco. I actually remember you doing that to me, like on me, at one point when you were younger. Like making me his drums. I do remember that.
Before
but I
Franco
didn't think you
played
didn't do it too
drums.
often.
See, it was his
Yeah, you
calling.
didn't do it too often though.
with my calling, I am meant to be a drum. But yeah, it's
Is
just,
that the only thing? You just play drums? You're just a music?
that's what comes to mind, really.
Okay, that's one thing that comes to mind.
That's fair, that's
okay, you, Kyle.
I'm not sure if this is similar because those things are like okay. Well, I'm not sure if you'd call it like superstitions or like compulsions, but I certainly do have a couple of those, and I've had many of those ever since I was younger. Because when you grow up, and I think Arkin can probably relate to this, when you grow up with some level of like anxiety, like especially when you're younger and you live in a Western country and everything's like huge and you're not really used to people. You have things that you have like a comfort blanket that you always go to. Like when I was younger, I would always have to switch a light switch because light switches in the West are different. Like they're very satisfying to flick. And
Well,
before
our
I go
light
to bed, I'd
switches
always have
aren't
to
up
flick.
par.
Yeah, like the ones in the West look like nipples, kind of.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen those. Yeah.
Right? They look like
Yeah.
nipples. So I'd flick that on and off 12 times before I'd go to bed every night. And that's when I could go to bed. If I didn't do that, and I did that like before brushing my teeth, I couldn't be able, like I wasn't going to bed. Like I had to do it right before bed all the time. And if I didn't do that, it was like nothing would be right in the world for me.
Huh.
But that's a
you stop doing
superstition. That's
that?
like a comfort blanket.
I
I did stop doing that. I did.
I
No,
haven't
but
done-
when?
Oh, yeah.
Like, were you here Did it stop when you reached maybe like when you're 10, when you're 11?
Here's the funny part.
Were you in preschool when you were doing it?
No, I was probably like 10 or 11, something like that. But it stopped when I shifted the superstition elsewhere, and I found another thing to
To fixate on.
Right.
To do.
Yeah, to hyperfixate, to make as my comfort blanket as something that would like assure me that everything was okay. Like nowadays, I only have like one superstition that I do every night, which is I say before I go to bed, I say what I want to do. Like in the future, like before I used to say I wanted to be a surgeon before, so I was like I would say cardiologist, you know, like I want to be a cardiologist, and I have to say the word cardiologist before I go to bed, and then I can sleep.
Oh,
now I say
cardiologist.
philosopher, and then I heard
yeah,
cardiologist.
Yeah, Kyle. I heard Kylieologist.
Kylieologist.
Making
No,
a profession.
cardiologist, like a heart doctor. No, I wanted to be a cardiologist when I was younger, or a pilot, either one of those things.
That's
But
like-
now I say like philosophy, and
That's
then I
like
go
the
to bed.
weirdest kind of prayer ever.
It's just to remind yourself. It is sort of like a prayer. It's very ritualistic. It's just
Mantra.
to remind yourself what
Yeah,
you want to do. Yeah, so you don't forget. Weirdly enough.
I mean, it's weird, but that seems like it could actually have a practical thing.
So it's sort of like a mantra.
Like tomorrow.
It's a superstition, and any superstition is to satiate comfort, you know, and your own sense of fear and doubt in whatever it is. So that's what it mostly is. I think all of us. Do you guys not have superstitions? I feel like that's a don't make me the odd one out, guys, please.
No,
Man, dude, you're putting me on the spot.
I feel like
I used to be kind of superstitious.
All right.
With what?
But the reason why I brought this up in the beginning, the reason why I wanted to bring up how we fidget sometimes, like how we have these patterns in our behaviors, or this paranoia, the Truman effect. I wanted to ask why we do it in the first place. You guys have any leads? Any idea?
Yeah.
Trauma.
I think it's similar to what I said
Archetypes,
before
trauma,
about
archetypes,
superstition.
past experience.
Yeah, not trauma as well, but I think even trauma that derives from the desire to want to satiate fears and to give ourselves our own comfort. Like I think it's comforting to believe that you're the only. It's in some ways it might be comforting to have the Truman Show effect. You know, to have the idea that you're the only thing there, and also it's comforting for me to do like the whole light switch, whatever. It's comforting for all of us to have our jokes, whether or not they're shit, validated, you know, things like that. That's all about comfort, and it's all because, again, that's why I think people with anxiety tend to have more superstitions, and they tend to be more superstitious, because it's something to lean on in times of distress. So psychologically, I think it is neurotypical, weirdly enough. It's or at least it's typical. You know, it's something that it's embedded in our system. Like even people tend to forget this, but I was talking at the Polytechnic University about like consciousness, and one person made a good point where depression is actually encoded into our psyche. You know, like it's actually biologically, it's something that was necessary for us to evolve, because it's natural to look at yourself and to think, you know, about your position in it. So these things are all very natural, completely typical parts of who we are. And I think that's, to me, that's what I see when I look at stuff like that.
Mental padding, sort of that psychological safe house.
Could you speak up there, boy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. As I was saying, mental
boy.
padding.
Yeah,
that's
boy.
That's psychological safe house. Yeah, I do agree with that. That is one way to look at it. But the way I see it, you see it as like a thing of comfort. I see it as a way to sort of patch boredom. Actually, there was this.
Really?
There was this. Yeah.
That's
No,
very
no,
menial.
definitely.
It's very, very trivial.
No, I mean, I do think it's a way to patch boredom, and like, because we're so occupied. You have to admit, every day it passes our conscious view, but then subconsciously our brains are processing so much. So when you fixate on nothing happening, you sort of just start to fidget, right? That's the rationale behind why you fidget, why I'm bouncing my leg up and down. It's to keep the motor neural part of my brain active, because it doesn't like being inactive.
But isn't that
I
still
think-
comfort? Isn't that still about comforting the boredom?
I think it goes hand in hand. Boredom causes discomfort, so I guess that's how you can relate it to what you said. There was this I remember reading this this study done in like 2014. There was actually like 11 studies done, 11 very similar studies where these participants were left in a room alone and they had nothing to do for like 15-20 minutes, and in front of them there was a button that could like electrocute them, and they knew it would electrocute them. They were explicitly told in the beginning of the experiment that they could be electrocuted. They were just told to like sit down, relax, and do whatever for 15 minutes. And obviously, as you know, the topic that we're talking about right now, these participants, they got bored. They got bored like 10 minutes in, and almost all of them electrified. They shocked themselves.
Whoa.
They would rather inflict pain onto themselves rather than be bored. So if that tells you anything, it tells you about our natural position to stave away from being unoccupied.
Yeah, yeah. But
And I think,
also,
our parents-
that's kind of... Yeah. Sorry, go.
Oh. Okay, well, I was also going to say, apart from fidgeting, what was the word you used earlier? Superstitions, things that we repeat because we believe that they comfort us and stuff like that. Another thing there is that they're repeated, right? There's a repetition. You start doing it, and then at some point you stop thinking about doing it and you just do it because it comforts you that way. You don't consciously do it at that point. It becomes automatic. And I think I want to point out there is, again, our brains ability to point out patterns and how our brains are coded for patterns. Our brains were built to distinguish patterns, and I think that's another way it keeps itself occupied. Again, to stay away boredom. So
Yeah, I have to say
That's a
I
big-
agree
I mean,
with you
this
a
is-
lot, because my habit of like having conversations with myself, it didn't really start out as a habit. I used to just like talk to myself because I had no one better to talk to. Because I was lonely and didn't have many friends. But like, eventually it just became something I did. Just like whenever I'm bored or like just like, I don't know, just like need to think something over, I talk to myself like I'm another person.
I think we can get some
I agree
extreme...
with that.
I think we can get some extreme examples in life of that as well. I mean, when you... This is a really depressing topic, but people who are seen to be suicidal, who hurt themselves, they often do that, or at least research shows that they often do that not only because of the things that are going on in their life, obviously, but also just to feel alive, almost to feel as if that they are feeling something, to feel anything really that is powerful and palpable. They hurt themselves. So that is an extreme example of that, and obviously I don't think any of us do that, but still, the fact that we do that in itself is already indicative of some again, atypical, but it's not really atypical because it's something that's completely, psychologically natural, but it's certainly an indication of what Johan was talking about, where we just want to stave off boredom, and we want to feel as alive, we want to feel here in the present.
And doing that, as what Kyle says, it comforts us. So I think what we can get from this is, I guess...
What we can get from it is that it's
I had a
comfort,
point.
mostly, I think.
I had another point, but then it flew off.
Yeah, I
But,
gotta
it's gone.
agree again. Like, I sit around in my room a lot, just like, I'm not sure if the term hallucinating is right, but basically hallucinating as I like think of stories and ideas and stuff like that, just to like keep myself entertained.
Exactly. And I feel like that's completely natural. I think people are very quick to assume what is and is not natural, or what is neurotypical and what is not neurotypical. Because again, if you look at biology, if you look at the way our brains work, there's a specific part of the brain that is dedicated to feeling depressed. Can you believe that? There's literally a part of the brain that
can believe
is
that,
for
yes.
feeling depressed. Okay, you're funny. No, but the point there isn't that we should feel depressed. The point is that it's natural to feel depressed, and that it's completely reasonable to feel,
I remember the
to
point.
examine
I was going to
yourself.
make now. I remember what I was going to say, and it builds off what you're saying right now, which is that compulsion is neurotypical. It's just the actions that we do, the actions that arise from that may lean towards things that people find weird or odd. these odd habits, these weird fidgety things that we do, and I think that's what we could get from it.
Right.
It's normal. Yeah, like the foundation is normal. What you
Yeah.
may do might not seem
Yeah,
normal.
yeah.
Yeah, our brains are itchy. Our brains get itchy, but the way we scratch those itches,
Yeah,
they
all of
may
our
not
brains.
always-
Yeah, well put. All of our brains get
It's,
itchy
with different methods
to
of
scratch
scratching.
that itch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone may use a back scratcher, the other may rub their back against a bunch of spikes.
Use a fork.
Use a fork,
Someone just might reach back there and grab it themselves.
or
One might massage with olive oil, and the other one might rub vigorously with steel wool.
Yes, I was gonna say sandpaper, but steel wool works too, perfectly.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Dude, no, I've rubbed sandpaper and steel wool both against my skin out of curiosity. Steel wool hurts a lot more.
Oh,
If you're going for pain, go for steel
Well,
wool.
that depends on the type of sandpaper, I think.
Yeah, that's true. There's different kinds. You
Yeah,
have
like-
the fine grit, the
Yeah.
coarse.
There's some rough sandpaper out there, mate.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember was doing woodwork one time, and it was like,
Sandpaper.
God, this
Do you guys
is
file your nails?
oh no.
no.
No, I tried it once and didn't get what all the fuss was about and stopped.
It feels weird.
It feels
doing-
weird, doesn't it? It
What's
feels
about?
really, really weird.
It feel,
I can't believe you all right now.
Arkin, doesn't it feel okay when you scratch a metal surface? Doesn't it feel weird to you?
Yeah, a little bit.
So why, when you file your nails, do you not get that sensation? Because I get
No,
that
I
sensation.
do get that sensation,
very much.
but it's just like, I don't know, man. I kind of like the feeling of just like, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
like
Just
in that context, you're fine.
You see, you can't even find a sufficient answer.
hey.
Hey, he doesn't need to have a
It might
sufficient
be
answer. We
indicative
literally
of
just
my
talked
terrible writing skills because I can't find the words to describe it. But it's just,
about.
I don't know, man. It feels nice to just like have smooth nails for me. Like even now, I'm looking at my nails, and they're just like a millimeter grown over. Just like not even like a full centimeter, just like a millimeter too long, and I hate it. I want my nails like perfectly short, which
I do get that.
I
To be
understand
fair.
that.
I do
it
get
kind of
that.
worries me because you want to know what fictional character had an obsession with keeping their nails short?
Devil Jin.
Yoshikage Kira.
I don't know.
Devil Jin.
Lola Bunny.
No, Kira Queen, Yoshikage Kira.
Oh yeah, no, he did, didn't he? Oh, but that was just because of his
Kept
hand
fingernails
fetish.
in a jar.
That was just because of his hand fetish.
Yeah.
But no, you enjoy the action of like grating your nails, like filing your nails over.
Well, I don't really say.
No,
I
he
enjoy
didn't
the
say that.
action Of it, but
Yeah,
I
he didn't say
like
that.
the result of like having like smooth.
Yeah,
nails.
you see, that's one that I get that more now because I hate the action of doing it. The sensation of feeling metal on your nails is terrible.
feels
but
so
I
weird.
guess the
Like,
but like the product of it is
vibration.
satisfying. I guess.
vibrations in your fingers are just no, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Gross. But
Well,
I
it
get
depends. How
Oh,
do you
well,
file
yeah.
your nails?
I get the appeal.
Or how did you file it? Because there's like a proper technique to it.
Oh yeah? I mean, I had like mom and I had my mom do it to me once, and I don't know, she just like rubbed the file like
Oh.
along the top.
Your little mummy do it for him.
Oh, my mummy did it for me.
Well, I mean,
oh, 'cause I'm
Yeah,
such
mum
a-
do it for him.
I'm
Yeah,
such a
mum.
little baby boy.
Oh, you sucking on the tit.
Okay.
I hope I wasn't.
I haven't really
I
had
had to, like-
anyone do it to me before, but like in my experience, it's good to like kind of support your finger with your thumb from underneath while you file it, so that your finger doesn't slip or anything. Because I've had my finger slip while filing it, and
Okay.
it was not pleasant.
You know what? I
Arkin would do great in like a women's parlor.
you know what? I can
I would
see.
do great in a spa.
You know what?
I know how to file. I know how to cut. I know how to give massages.
Oh, you be that sassy.
Great conversationist, great
yeah.
massages, great filer.
You be one of the girls
All
in
the
no
above.
time. One of the girls in the
Oh,
sassy
dude,
old
I've hung
women.
out, like in like junior high, I was already one of the girls, dude. I would hang out with the girls almost exclusively.
Oh yeah, true.
I was
Nice.
that one.
No problem with
I was
that.
that
Humble
one
brag,
guy
humble
friend.
brag.
Chad.
Yeah, humble brag. Whoa.
Chad Arkin.
Not,
There's this
not to
guy.
be-
Hey. Interesting question I'd like to pose to y'all. well, I guess Kyle sort of poses first, but yeah, if there was someone from history, dead or alive, like that you would like to have dinner with, who would it be?
Johan, I'll let you. Or like Arkin, you guys want to take that?
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that
Arkin
this
got
is
it.
biased because like I saw a video of him recently, but I would honestly like to have like dinner and a discussion with Nietzsche.
Oh,
Because,
oh wow.
As I understand, because from what I've learned,
Oh, you've gotten Kyle.
Nietzsche wasn't a nihilist. He
Well, okay, wait.
believed
What
that
era of Nietzsche are we talking about? Are we talking about when he was mental or when he was still coherent?
When he was mental, that's a
Oh
lot
my.
more interesting.
It's interesting, but he was. I'm not sure. He'd be difficult to talk to. I'll say that.
Dude, my thoughts are probably just as scattered as his, so we're probably on the same playing field.
Yeah, possibly.
But I mean, like, I'd like to talk with him about like the philosophy of not really not caring about like life or like not caring about anything, but caring about like. Oh, I'm not sure if I'm remembering it correctly now. My memory is absolutely terrible.
That's
But
alright.
it's just like, I'd like to talk about like how we just should live the life that we have. Like even if we can't really achieve the highest of highs, that even the like small achievements we have, those are fine. Like even if we don't like become a superstar or we don't like reach for the moon, that even just like small steps, small victories, those are things to be proud of, and those are things that we should strive to continue doing. And we shouldn't just strive just to work or to like just to succeed, but we should strive to like live. I mean, obviously succeeding is important, but it's also important to like, I don't know, take some time off sometimes. To just
Well, how do you think
relax.
having dinner with Nietzsche during his mad periods are going to help you with that?
Well, hey, if he starts screaming and taking off his clothes, I'll probably join him.
Oh,
It was you posed an interesting point. I think that's one of Nietzsche's philosophies that I don't disagree with. I disagree with Nietzsche on a lot of things, like his concept of the Übermensch and the Superman, and that everyone is,
Yeah.
because that's a two-part philosophy that you just said. You talked about one part, which is the normal man, not the Übermensch. Which is just who we are, I think. I don't think anyone here is what Nietzsche described as the Superman. We're just normal people who want to, fulfill. Oh, funny. No, we want to fulfill normal lives and have kind of like, again, satisfying happiness, happiness that is achieved in ways that are very simple, that, we're not despotic, we're not, we don't crave a lot of power, or at least I don't think we do, unless Johan has something to tell us. But I don't think so. But there are people, and this is one of Nietzsche's philosophies that I disagree with. I agree with that. I think searching for that thing's okay, but he believed that there were categories of life that we were ascribed to, and I'm not quite sure that's right. He believed that that's the category of life that we are ascribed to, and that it's very difficult for the normal man, the non-Übermensch, to go and achieve the power that is sufficient, or that would be sufficient for someone with that sort of desire. And the only person who could do that is the Superman, the man who was meant to lead people like us, okay? And I think that philosophy is actually quite dangerous. Yeah, I think that philosophy is quite dangerous.
But
Yeah.
that's kind of also another reason why I would like to, have a dinner and discussion with him. I mean, what's the point of having a discussion with someone who agrees 100% with your philosophy? If you butt heads with someone and who has a differing idea to you, and you actually have a debate instead of a screaming match, you might learn something from each other.
Johan, please, you're so quiet.
Calling Twitter out.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I am. I'm calling you
Twitter,
out.
we're looking at you.
Any social
Ruining
media,
enough
really.
mental
That's...
health.
True, social media is a dingus sometimes.
Yeah, Arkin, that's why I brought it up, because I suppose that's a good answer for me too, because I disagree with Nietzsche on a lot of things. In fact, like, I think I disagree with him on many more things than you do. I mean, I've read a lot of Nietzsche, and I think that you know, his ideas of power and the people who he admires, people like Charlemagne who were tyrants, I think there's a lot of things that I don't agree with, and it would be interesting to have like a sit down with him and talk about how much I think, you know, his philosophies have kind of been more dangerous than good, I'll say that.
Well, if I had to give like one superstition that I believed when I was younger that I don't believe now, would have to be like, for some reason I would always assume someone's watching me. And like I'd always like be looking over my shoulder, and I'd always like think like, oh my god, someone's probably looking at me right now. And I'm not sure if that's like superstition or if that's just paranoia.
Probably.
No, I get that.
It's paranoid.
Did Ren just say the Holocaust is a lie?
What?
This fucking guy, man, this guy.
Oh,
What
great.
did I just hear?
You nothing.
Yeah, I feel like
Is he talking about ovens?
Yeah,
He's talking about the Holocaust and ovens. He's talking about some madness over there, mate. I don't.
We get him on the podcast?
Oh my god.
No.
No.
He'd get us
No.
so fast.
Any amount of advertisability we're trying to build up will just disintegrate.
Gone. Right at this moment, at this minute, just gone.
Disintegrate like cotton candy in water.
No, Arkin, though, I get what you're saying. I think all of us have had the Truman Show effect of like solipsism, where we think that we're being watched, or like maybe like we're like we're like a center of something bigger, you know. Yeah. So I think we've all got that. I think at one point in your life you've always thought like, is this all real? Because realistically, there's no way to coherently, I mean, Descartes said this, there's no way to coherently determine that everything else is real, you know, idealism and all that.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for us to fathom, like, that we're not being, like, watched or something else isn't happening. Again, the Truman Show effect.
And well, in my opinion, the reason I'm sure we all do that. We all think like there are times where we sort of like to think of ourselves as characters in a show, and we act according to that
Oh, yeah.
pattern of thought. But in my opinion, another reason why we do that is just because it just makes things more fun. I don't know about you guys, but imagining an audience watching my action just makes a few things more fun for me.
Yeah.
It entertains me.
I was gonna say earlier, like another like neuroatypical, I guess, thing that I do is I talk to myself as if I were like in front of an audience, like as if I were.
Do you guys
in a
ever like
video.
tell jokes?
It's weird.
And then you like look over to an imaginary camera like you're in a sitcom.
Sometimes, yeah.
yeah, I do.
Yeah. Man.
I mean, if the joke's good enough, then I wouldn't mind pulling it out to the ghosts and decide.
I've come
No,
up
if the
with
joke's shit as well, I do that too, to be fair. If the joke is so bad, and
Ah.
you're just like, oh shit, that was
back-
so bad, but then you just look at
You
someone
get
and it's like,
ashamed
that was
at
bad, right?
yourself in front of the audience.
Yeah, you get validation of how shit that joke just was.
I've come up with a few
Yeah,
tweets
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Like I've just spoken to myself. Like I tell myself a joke, and then I like, I should tweet that, and then I tweet it.
And then it doesn't go well.
And that's why you have fucking less followers than all of us.
Oi, my account is newer
I'm
than all of
kidding.
you.
More followers than I do.
Wait, no,
Mostly
hold on.
That's
because
true,
I
you don't have
an
Twitter,
account.
mate. You do not have a Twitter account.
Yeah.
Wait, no, okay, Kyle, your statement is false. I have 150. Johan is 127.
Oh,
You're really pulling out
okay.
exact numbers in the.
Yeah, you're pulling on
podcast.
straws there, Frankie. You're pulling on some straws. Oh, I
Yeah,
don't know.
look, right. I need to win this.
Don't know about that, mate. Don't know about that.
I need to win this dick measuring contest.
But yeah, Arkin, I think that's a very noble one. I mean, if I could tell you something about Tolkien that maybe you didn't know, he was an Oxford man. I'm sure you probably knew that, but his journey to publishing, I'm not sure how he felt, I can't speak for how he felt, but his journey to publishing was actually, it was somewhat difficult for a man from Oxford, even if he was from one of those schools that were a very eminent place. It still was difficult because he was a philologist. He was actually a linguistic writer before a fiction writer, and it's very difficult to get traction as a fiction writer when you're known for being a linguist. So that was one of his primary ordeals, I think. But eventually it became, I'm not sure how he persevered exactly, but the results speak for itself. I mean, The Lord of the Rings is one of the most beloved books in Britain and around the world, probably. So, yeah, it's really nice. And also, he was pretty much something of a. I don't want to say he was anti-academic, but he was certainly anti-orthodox academic. He didn't exactly like that world. So can I, yeah, definitely. I think that the pompous nature of academics is really inhibiting, and he saw that too, and he was like, I really want to, we should all just be more honest with ourselves, and he was more about nature. That's why The Lord of the Rings is such a naturalistic book, because he was more about trying to revert. He was sort of like Rousseau. He wanted to revert back to nature and to try to get in touch with the world and the universe.
Return to monkey.
Yeah, return to monkey. Whereas everyone in academics wants to be ornate and try to fabricate this, grandiousness. He was just there wanting to be
everyone here
treated.
in this call, we're all against the elitist nature, elitist side of academia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I should be saying this, but I feel like I might have a vendetta against the elites in general.
Oh no, absolutely say it.
Don't
Okay,
misunderstand.
Oh, you think you're the only one?
Don't misunderstand me. If someone has gotten to that elite status on their own, sweat, blood, tears, and stuff like that, and they've gotten successful, no problemo. You have no bad blood with me. But the people who are in the elite bracket, who are only there because they've lied, cheated, and manipulated, those are the people I have a vendetta against.
Well, that's
And
most of the
people
elites. That's the problem, I
I'm
think.
going to criticize the most in my writings. Yay!
Yeah, Arkin, do not be afraid to say that. We are socialists here, after all.
Yes, this is
Yeah, I mean,
this is a fairly socialist podcast.
But anyway, yes, dinner. Have it.
Yeah.
Who would I have dinner with?
Franco. Who would you have dinner with?
Okay,
And
you got.
we all chose quite a few. So, the number you could choose here, really anything.
Man.
Up to you.
I did want to talk about Bertrand more, but I'll do that after Franco.
Okay,
Alright,
well.
Franco's up first.
I would. Man. For some reason, all that comes to mind are musicians, that I admire. And.
Brendan Urie.
Brendan Urie would be pretty good, but I don't know. I would like to have a dinner with. I want to say all of the Beatles, but maybe I'll just pick John Lennon for one.
Oh yes.
John Lennon, because
that's such a
Why
good
not
answer.
all-
I can't believe
why
I
not-
fucking didn't.
Yeah.
Why not all of them?
I mean, if I had to pick one, then I'll probably pick John Lennon, because
Oh yeah, of course.
I think specifically post Beatles John Lennon, 70s John Lennon, his. I just want to have talks with him about peace, materialism, social justice, stuff like that. He's post 70s John. 70s John Lennon seems like such an intelligent, well-spoken guy.
Philosophical.
Yeah, to be fair, they all do. None of them were ever stupid or simplistic, but you know what I mean, right? He was.
John was the most iconic. I mean, he was the one who made the most imprint,
yeah.
as far as
Is there
society
anything
goes, so I
specific
definitely.
you'd ask him?
Is there anything? I would ask him to imagine, if there was no heaven. No. What would I ask?
Could you imagine telling that to John Lennon? He'd just be like, shut the fuck up.
Well, yes, I wrote a song about it.
I told that to you.
Nah, what would I ask him? Yeah, I guess I would just ask him okay, assuming that this dinner is taking place, with a magically reincarnated John Lennon who has been reintroduced into the world in 2021, I would just ask him, what he thinks of the world right now. How,
Oh gosh, he would hate it.
He would hate it.
He would absolutely hate it. He's probably rolling in his
abhor.
grave right now.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah.
He would abhor what's going on with the political structure of the
And,
world.
if
It's even worse than it was in the 70s.
Yeah. and then like he's been given a chance to like adjust his views to like the current year. Like, I guess a good thing to ask him would be like, would his ideals from before still hold up today? Like his ideals for trying to achieve peace and stuff like that. If they would still work in today's society. Like, yeah, I'd be curious. To ask
They
him
would
about
still
that.
work, but they're much further away from ever working. I
Yeah.
think. And I think that's the real reality. You know, it's a.
He'd probably be
it
a
would
bit
be- it would-
discouraged even.
Yeah, exactly. It would be
Being so far
very
into the future
disheartening.
and seeing things actually getting worse.
Oh, very true. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it's similar. That's a similar thing to Bertrand Russell. You know, Bertrand Russell actually met Paul McCartney because they lived very close together in West London.
Really?
And like,
That's cool.
yeah. When Bertrand was very old, obviously, and Paul McCartney was like on the rise in the 60s and 70s, Paul McCartney lived right next to Bertrand Russell, and they talked to each other. And Paul was actually like a big fan of Bertrand because Bertrand was also a social justice, you know. I don't want to say warrior because that's such a
An advocate.
modern term, but he he was an activist. He was someone who in the Vietnam War, actually, that's why Paul might have known about him. He was the one protesting in Trafalgar Square against the war in Vietnam, especially because Britain wanted to get involved, and obviously there was a lot of atrocities going on there to innocent people. But the reason why Bertrand Russell, I think, is a good answer, not only because I agree with him philosophically and perhaps like personably, I think we would get along because we were very like rigid old guys. But even when we're young, we're still old. No, but
Yeah.
also because he lived through everything. I mean, think about being born in the Victorian era, living through the Industrial Revolution, living through World War One, World War Two, the Cold War, and Vietnam. You know, Watergate, everything that happened, you know, in that era. That's remarkable. You know, like
Well, you
to
could
have
put him
seen
second to Forrest Gump,
everything.
I guess.
Well, yeah. No, but to have seen everything, to have been an actual person, to have been born in that era, and even seen transportation and communication and things which were so primitive when he was born and when he was a child, to see that develop to the degrees at which it was in the 70s, which is the time when he passed away, I think that would be absolutely remarkable. And to see, you know, just because of that experience, you know, a lot of the people we were talking about died very early. John Lennon, you know, died when he, you know, very prematurely.
40 years.
But yeah, still very, very premature.
Yeah.
But Bertrand Russell lived till he was like 90 something, and to have lived to that age, you know, I think that's. But to have lived to that age, I think that's really something extraordinary, and I'd love to just hear his knowledge of the world nowadays. Not only philosophically, I know about his philosophies and I can read about that extensively, but I would like to hear about his experience in seeing the development of the world and civilization.
What?
And in fact, I think he would be equally as disappointed in what's going on nowadays. I think he'd be just as disappointed
Yeah.
as we are, perhaps even more.
Yeah. People from. Yeah. Not good time living. Not good time.
I think Kyle and I have
Certainly
similar
not.
reasons as to why we'd want to meet the people we want to meet. I mean, I didn't talk about this earlier because I sort of just glossed over it. But the reason why I wanted to meet Nikolai Tesla when he was both at my age, does it have to be just one person? You know that scene?
It could be
from,
two, if you want.
You know that scene from Mulan where from the animated film when she summoned Mushu,
You mean the
Red
good
Dragon?
film?
Yes, the good one. The one where the main actress does not support Hong Kong violence. But there was a scene where Mushu sort of like awakens Mulan's ancestors, and she could like have. That's what I do essentially. I'd have a dinner with 10 generations back, and I'd want to be able to see each and every one of my ancestors. See the sort of
Oh.
progression and get and see if they'd be proud of where their lineage is headed.
So like a Coco type thing.
Sort
Do
of,
you
like
have
Coco
a
type
knowledge
thing.
of your
Like
ancestry?
Disney-ish.
Do you know like where they'd be?
That's the thing. I don't. Wait. No, I don't. And I guess that's also why.
Like, would they be farmers? Would they be scribes? Would they be churchmen?
Who knows? 10 generations back, they could be royalty for all I care.
Well, one of them shows up.
Yeah, that's
one of
true.
them. One of them shows up in an SS uniform. What do you do?
Now that's a good question. Let's go with that.
Oh no.
That's fucking brilliant.
No.
That's great.
Oh boy.
I mean, to be fair, again, 10 generations back for all I care. For all I care, all right. That's not that far-fetched. 10 generations is a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I.
You've got to do the 23andMe. You've got to do that DNA test.
I've been really wanting to do one of those.
Okay, so that's
Yeah,
one.
send your
I'd
DNA
have-
into the internet. That's safe.
Yeah, I'd have a dinner.
Yeah,
I'd have
I
dinner
agree.
with a council of my ancestors. That's one. Another one I could do, and if I'd have to choose just one, under the same vein of having dinner with family, I'd
Huh?
have dinner
Wait,
with
hold
my
on, I didn't know you
future.
could choose more than one option.
I mean, I'm just putting it out. There.
Okay, I can
Putting
go.
it out
choose,
there.
choose. I can go.
No.
I'm just putting
Just
it
like
out
let
there.
him finish.
Under the same
Okay.
vein of family, I would have dinner with my future firstborn, if ever I'd have one,
Oh, future.
and of the same age.
Are we including future? Okay, we'll allow
Wouldn't
it.
you
We'll
be
allow
able
it.
to do that anyway?
I think he means like
Them
right
being
now.
able to- yeah, like right now. My firstborn being the same age as I am right now and being able to discuss.
Oh, okay. Okay. Your firstborn would like that more than you would, I think.
So, son, what kind of porn do they have in the future?
It's all VR, dude. It's
Hell
all
yeah.
VR.
Augmented reality. Everything's just.
Hell yeah, your mom's
It's
fine
all in
with
front of you.
your mom's fine with me watching with me doing that stuff, right? Right? Okay, cool.
She doesn't approve of the tentacles, though.
Well, what can you do?
Ah, well.
You were going to mention someone, Arkin, because I've mentioned two. You were going to mention one more?
Oh no, I don't know, man. It's just like he said one person, and I was just like, wait, hold on. How come you're using two? I mean, I don't
Well, I
want
can do
to,
three.
but
If
I
we're going
would've
to be
liked
going
that
under the same
opportunity.
vein. I mean, if we're going to go further under the same vein of you talking to madmen, I wouldn't mind like having dinner with Nikolai Tesla when he was like in his senior years.
I was about to
He
say
was,
that.
like,
I was
dating-
about to say.
dating-
Johan's 100% gonna pick Tesla. 100%. I would have bet money on that. I'm not joking. I would have bet money on that.
I mean, well, why wouldn't I? It's Tesla.
That's true.
Tesla, mate, open your eyes.
He passed away at a young age, though. I feel like that's the one thing that I
He died a
regret.
virgin.
I
Maybe
would
we might
either
fix that,
okay.
Johan.
I would speak to Tesla when he was around my age, and then I'd speak
Thank
to
you,
Tesla
Arkin.
when he was mad when he was a senior.
Oh no, you're Franco. Why would you say
It
that?
is probably it's probably best that what I said doesn't get repeated, but yeah, okay.
What'd he say?
if
What'd he
I could
say?
choose
I
a
didn't pick
second
that up. What
person,
did Franco say?
I said Tesla died a virgin. Maybe you could fix that.
You gotta fix that, man.
Oh, yeah, he died.
Timestamp.
Oh.
Timestamp.
No,
Timestamp.
no. We're keeping
No,
it in.
no,
We're
no,
keeping
that's
it
staying
in.
in. That's in.
Well, if I had to like pick a second person to have like this dinner with, I'd probably like go for one of my favorite authors, Tolkien, and just like
Oh, wow, yes.
just like ask him like not anything like about his stories, because I'm sure if I go on the internet, like go to a forum and say one misinformation, I'd get like blasted by like 100,000 different people angry at me. But like I want to ask him about like his journey to be a writer, to his like struggles with publishing it and writing it. I want to like know how he felt during that time and how he got over it.
That would
You
be
know?
fascinating. I'd have to agree with Arkin
For
there.
inspiration,
I can
yeah.
pick very similar people to who I think I would pick Nietzsche.
Before
and
Kyle
Tolkien.
chooses, can I just say that Kyle, I'm willing to bet money that he is going to mention Bertrand Russell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aldous Huxley,
Yeah.
Bertrand
Yeah,
Russell.
yeah.
Pay up,
One
pay
of
up.
them. I mean, I was. Well, you said money. I mean, I'll give you 1 peso.
There was a hole in your.
You should have specified an amount there. You should. No, too late. Sorry, you've already bet. No takesy backsies.
No, but I think.
But yeah.
Arkin, I also had it in the back of my head that Arkin was going to choose his favorite author, and I also knew that Kyle was going to
Is Daft Punk disbanding still? You think that's still a topical thing that we can talk about? Because man, it still feels a bit weird, doesn't it?
I mean, as someone who was a fan of Daft Punk, although I'm not really sure if I can call myself a fan, I'm not like, I don't know all the names of their songs, I don't know all their albums and release dates, but I appreciated their music, and I liked the messages behind them. I really liked watching Interstellar 5555, though. That was a good movie.
Ooh, I never
What
Never
messages
watched
did
that.
you find in their songs? Be harder, be better, be faster, be
Rock.
stronger? Is that what you...
Robot rock,
Especially Be Harder.
rock.
Yeah, be
Robot.
harder, Arkin, be harder.
not
That really
every-
resonates with me. That really touches my heart. I want to be harder, guys.
Oh, I can help.
But I kind of just like,
Wow.
I don't know, it's good music to vibe to, man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure.
No,
Like, it really helps
definitely.
you think.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And
it's not
just,
lyrically.
like-
I suppose it's more of the aura that it gives.
Yeah, the vibe it gives, the feelings it invokes.
Yeah, I did get that.
And to be honest, aside from like listening to their songs every now and then, I didn't really give Daft Punk much thought until, you know, they announced that they were disbanding. And when I read
I think
that, I was like, they were still together?
Well, no, I think that's the
Like, they
fascinating
had-
thing about
They
it.
hadn't
Like,
posted music in so long, but now that now the fans have closure, now they know, like, Daft Punk has decided to retire.
And when he was much later in his age as well, is because I wanted to learn from the guy. I wanted to, because not to like draw personal comparisons here, but like his mother was an inventor, his father was religious. One sort of pushed him in one direction, and the other one sort of pushed him in the other direction, and sort of like put him down. But the guy had gift. The guy had drive, and I'd want to be there to sort of learn from that, and sort of see what he was thinking when he was in positions maybe similar to me, and I think that would be very interesting.
yeah. To relate to someone on that psychological, historical level is really
Minus the
like
genius, I could probably relate.
Oh yeah.
I've read.
Yeah,
I've read
I said
multiple
historical.
biographies of him, and it's just, I do think that we would relate over a few things.
yeah. That's definitely something. Yeah.
Wouldn't you prefer that your favorite band go out just like this, like quietly with a whisper, rather than with this huge controversy or with one of them dying? Wouldn't you prefer them that like quiet, dissolving,
That's true, they left with
rather
grace.
than just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a
That's true.
tragedy ruining it?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's true. I think like the reason why I created Waves is because we didn't really appreciate Daft Punk when they were actually still together. Like they're actually pretty revolutionary as far as the modern sense of like music goes.
I would have to say
And I feel
that.
like when they disbanded, that like gave us some perspective of like, oh wait,
Yeah.
Daft Punk is actually great.
Yeah.
they're brilliant.
I
You know?
think it's like
I
Don't
mean,
think that
it
until it's gone.
proves that
Yeah.
old proverb
I don't know what
correct.
you
You
got.
don't know how good you've got things until
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gone.
exactly.
I think a reason why is because they were so low key throughout their whole career, like over 20 years of music, and like
They didn't say a single word.
yeah, all we really knew of them was they got helmets, they make
And that they're French.
Well, they spoke through their music. I think that was the point,
That's
like,
true.
of Daft Punk as a whole. They didn't want to have the personalities that other, techno musicians like Skrillex had, for example.
Yeah.
They wanted like,
They wanted the
yeah,
music
they
to
want
be
something
their
that was just very,
personality.
exactly. They wanted it to be purer. They wanted that to speak for them. Rather than, the lyrics and all
Yeah.
that. That's why their lyrics they were quite base. I mean, again, harder, better, faster, stronger. I guess you can take
Rock.
something from that, but that's not the
Roll,
point. The
rock.
point is like the point is again what Arkin, the vibe of the song, what it made you feel in that moment. And that's something that every modern song, or like most of them, like 90% of them, employ nowadays. And I think Daft Punk was like the sort of driving force at one point in like the late 90s, early 2000s. they were like behind kind of that, like, not emphasis on lyrics anymore. We're now going towards just feel, you know, and how the song makes you feel melodically, I guess.
Yeah, which isn't, but this, you know, focusing on their music, like stepping back that, which isn't to say that they didn't have any personality as people, because I did see.
I mean, they had a little bit of
Sneeze coming.
personality, but they just never really spoke.
That's true.
Oh.
Bless you.
Ooh.
Woo!
Gesundheit.
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 Saying something, Arkin?
Yeah. I was just saying, like, they did speak, but they did like express personality. Like, do you remember that like small period of time, that era, I suppose you could say, when they had like LEDs and stuff on their helmets and stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they changed.
I think
It was very small. I mean, it was like sound bites, virtually, like phrases.
But they
didn't speak a
really,
lot.
like, spoke. Like, they never really spoke like full on like speeches or anything like that.
To be fair, if they
Still
did, do you
were
think they
able to
wouldn't
show
be able to speak good
personality
English?
Without. Well, I mean,
Do you think they would just be very French in the way they spoke, and do you think that everyone else would just be
maybe
like,
they
okay,
wouldn't
they're
even
French, I
speak
forgot.
English at all. Maybe they just speak French entirely.
Okay. Well, Kyle would have a problem with that. Then. Yeah, Kyle would have a problem with
But
that.
like, even though they
Just spitting into cups and shit, eating frogs.
even if they didn't speak or say a single word, their music, their actions, how they acted, how they responded to things, that was like showing enough personality. And another reason why they like had these like masks and this like sort of robotic persona was because they themselves didn't really want to be like famous. They didn't really want to be associated with it that much. Yes, they were the people behind it, but they didn't want people to know them for that. They didn't want people to know their names and stuff like that. They just wanted them to know the music, and that the music was from Daft Punk.
Which is probably why they
So
were so
again,
low
it's
key. I mean, you probably
emphasizing-
wouldn't. Yeah, you probably
No,
wouldn't.
sorry, you continue.
No, but yeah, no, I was just agreeing with you that what you said was probably the reason why they were so low key, and how not a lot of people. The only reason why this is such a big deal is, again, we only know how good we had it once the thing that was making things good just disappears. Daft Punk was that thing. What you were saying, Arkin, I was just agreeing with you.
No, to be honest, in the middle of that sentence, I lost my train of thought, and you speaking was actually my saving grace.
Oh boy. I relate to that so much.
That's probably the only reason
No,
why
that's good.
you'd only know what's going on with Daft Punk if you like actively followed them. If you didn't, then
Oh yeah, for sure.
like with the four of us.
They're a difficult band to follow. They're a difficult act to follow. They're not really a band. Because they were so, as Arkin said, they were so inactive for so long.
Yeah.
Like, it's following them,
I mean-
you know, quote unquote,
I mean,
is
like,
difficult.
I've told you guys this, but like the week before they disbanded, I was just like, Daft Punk haven't made anything in a while. Like their last album was 2013, and I was like,
Were you the sequitur? Were you the one who incited this,
Maybe I
Franco? Oh
was.
my god.
maybe I
my
killed
God.
Daft Punk.
Oh my.
Right.
Where were
We're
you
rioting
when- where
outside
were
your
you when
house
Daft
right
Punk
now.
was-
Gather
We're
your
going.
pitchforks, ladies and gentlemen. That's our target right there.
I'm sorry.
We wanted to be harder, we wanted to be better, but now we're not.
We're weaker. We're
wanted to be
softer.
faster. We
We're
wanted to be
slower
better.
and weaker. I'm sorry. You can cancel me all you like, guys. It's all right.
For that, yeah, we will.
Hashtag Franco's over party.
I think when if ever Panic at the Disco, Franco, because they were our first
Oh, Lord.
concert, so if ever Panic at the Disco disband, that'll be
mean,
the same.
They've already sort of disbanded. It really is just Brendan Urie now, is it? But yeah, if Brendan Urie decided to stop making music,
Oh
like,
my god, I'd
decided
cry.
to stop, I would. Man, like how I would feel if Luna disbanded.
I think we're giving too
21.
much of ourselves away when we say that Panic at the Disco
Pilots.
was our first concert.
Look, man.
I'm not an emo, guys,
No,
promise.
man. Embrace it. We like the real music.
Oh boy.
Real music with real meaning, guys.
Oh yeah. I've had high hopes.
for a living. I get paid for them. I get paid to have high hopes.
Oh boy. Okay. All right, Franco. What's the next? What's next on the agenda?
Next on the agenda, that royal family thing, huh?
Oh,
please
wow.
Don't bring that up. I
Don't?
can't believe they're arguing about like what color the child is when Prince Philip looks like he's gonna keel over at any second.
Look, mate, it doesn't matter to them as long as he's white.
You know, it really is fucked up though. Like, I think we're kind of demeaning it, but it really is fucked up. Not necessarily like it's not even surprising to me. I think looking back at the Diana times and about how the times when, because I think that relation is so apparent. Like, actually, I'm not sure if you guys knew about this, but in the 90s. Diana, obviously Charles, he is like as stiff as a board, right? So I'd imagine Diana already had a problem with that. But she was also feeling the exact same things that Meghan was feeling.
Right.
Or, at that time, or even at the moment, probably still feeling it. And it's just fascinating to know, because, Diana, she experienced all that. She was feeling suicidal, depressed, going through all of those things. The royal family didn't let her do anything, okay? Same thing with Meghan. Didn't let her do anything, didn't let her, speak for herself or have any, independence as a human. And so what she did, she kind of, did the interview, which was like the similar thing to what Meghan and Harry did with Oprah. She did an interview where she said that, like, oh, there's actually 3 people in this relationship, and it was me, Charles, and this other girl. I forgot her name. She was like a princess something, another person in the royal family. And then she divorced. Yeah, and then she essentially divorced Charles and married this Egyptian bloke who was a very handsome man.
Died in a car accident.
Exactly. After she left the family already, and after everything was already done, she was running from the press, apparently, quote unquote, running from the press, and then died in a tunnel. I mean, that's never happened since, by the way. No one has ever run from the press and just died. Okay, that's not something that's ever happened. That's the only time that's ever happened. But apparently, no, it's very sad. Oh no, Diana.
If another person in the royal family dies of a mysterious car crash, people are gonna get suspicious.
No, my point is that they're making it out as if it's completely normal for that to have happened. And she was pronounced dead in the fucking ambulance, not in the hospital where people are normally pronounced as dead, in a fucking ambulance in France. I mean, it's very, very strange.
It is very suspect.
Very strange.
Man.
I'm not saying allegedly, okay?
Sure.
This is all alleged. I'm not saying they actually did that. It's just that, it's very strange. I mean, even... Yeah, anyone can admit that. Because, again, that's never happened before. Never. And never happened since.
But, I mean, if you really think about it, and if you all will permit me to play devil's advocate here...
Yeah, go on.
There's a reason why the royal family kind of wants to, avoid different colored lineage or lineage. God, this is gonna sound really racist. They want to keep their bloodline pure in a sense. They want to keep
what is pure?
family
Okay, I mean,
white.
Okay.
They don't want to associate.
Yeah, but how do you? I mean, that's
slaves.
Okay.
The foundation of the royal family in itself, okay, is completely absurd. Let's be honest here. It's completely fucking absurd.
Yeah.
No, okay, the entire rule of the royal family is built on something called divine right, okay, that God has granted them, personally, the right to rule over the peasantry. That's fucking crazy, okay? That is mental. And no modern country should ever have taxes.
Yeah.
They own half of the UK.
Like,
okay, what the fuck?
Yeah, and
what the fuck?
And this isn't brought up. No one ever thinks about it like this because Queen Elizabeth has just sort of been chill. Like, she hasn't been tyrannical.
No, she's nice.
Right?
She's nice.
She's nice, but when she's gone, and someone terrible or not as benevolent takes over the royal family, takes the throne, I for sure those qualities of the royal family are going to come to fore.
Yeah.
It's not even just that. I mean, the royal family doesn't have a lot of power. The problem with
That's
the royal
true.
family is that people are still paying them taxes. People, they still own so much land, and they're already
at this
stupid
point-
rich.
At this point, they're just celebrities. They're not even government officials
That is true.
at this point.
They're ceremonial.
Yeah, they're like the Kardashians for England. It's so bullshit.
Pretty much. Yeah. They're just
That is an
figureheads.
apt description.
Except the Kardashians
you're
don't
welcome,
own half
guys.
the country.
Yeah, Americans don't pay taxes to the Kardashians, thank God.
No, look, no. There was a Kylie Jenner.
Don't give them any ideas.
No. Back
No,
in,
no, don't, oh yeah,
No,
sorry,
no,
I
no.
didn't say that.
No. It's already happened. Back in like 2018, I think 2019.
Oh my God.
Kylie Jenner
Are you
was
talking
like
about
a
Kylie
few.
Jenner's fundraiser?
Yeah, she was a few $1 million from
Oh
becoming
my
the first, like the youngest billionaire, and at the same time there was another GoFundMe for like like a disaster that happened in an impoverished area or something like that.
Oh
Guess
my
which
God.
GoFundMe was funded first?
Oh
my
my
Guess which
God.
GoFundMe was funded first?
You can see the disgust on my face.
Yeah.
You can hear the disgust in my voice.
You can
God.
smell the disgust.
You can hear the
in my
disgust in the
breath.
room. I mean, this is...
Open the windows. Open the windows.
Ugh.
Get a
There's
good
so much
whiff of that
disgust in
disgust.
here, we have to gust it out.
Hey! We have to get rid of
See,
this
I
dust.
would remark that they should probably burn for like heresy or something, but like there's so much plastic they'd probably be immune to it for a couple seconds.
No. Yeah, it would be environmentally irresponsible. to do that.
Yeah, that would be irresponsible in itself. Yeah, you'd just be burning 90% plastic there, mate. That's-
GripesCast is a green podcast.
Yes.
All right, we're not for burning
Yeah.
plastic.
Yes, just
we support recycling, everyone.
Send them to Tupperware, like the Tupperware people. The
Yeah, we should put them in cubes. That's what we should do. We should cube them up and fucking
I swear to God.
store them in a recycled place.
I swear to God.
No, what do they do with plastic? They like rip plastic
They-
apart like tiny
oh.
bits and then they melt
Yeah,
them
and then
down.
they, like,
Yeah,
melt
yeah.
it
and
down
Yeah.
then
again.
repurpose them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Put 'em into
that's why we
concrete.
should cube them.
Like fucking Wally.
Yeah.
Oh man.
They'd be better used that way, let's be honest.
But yeah,
I
that
mean, come
family
on.
is garbage. Like Kendall is the only one who is somewhat decent, and even she's like, she did that Pepsi ad. And,
You
yeah.
actually know their names? God, I don't know.
Yeah,
any
I was about to
of
say,
that.
like, you seem very familiar with the family.
Oh,
I just don't know what people get from following them. Like, what is it really that you get?
The drama they
It's the wish to be
create.
like
Drama
them, that's
and-
what it
yeah,
is. It's
exactly.
the wish to be like them.
It's the
They want,
American
everyone
dream.
wants to be famous for doing fucking nothing, right? That's the dream. Imagine doing nothing and being famous. Amazing.
Or
I
maybe,
don't
Half
know
of this
about you
generation doesn't need
guys.
to dream.
or maybe
Yeah,
you were a
that's true.
Kanye
That's true.
fan and you got
TikTok and
roped
all
into
this
it.
stuff. You have these like I'm gonna sound like a fucking goblin, but you have all these beautiful people being hoisted into like fame just because they're beautiful.
That's been happening for ages.
Yeah, I mean
Yes,
the internet
It's not
is
just
a,
because
the
they're
internet
beautiful
is a
as well. I
machine.
mean, it's...
The internet is a factory
yeah.
for quote unquote beautiful people. So you know it's a very easy piece of media to consume.
Yeah, we can say quote unquote
Yeah,
because
that's
we
true.
ourselves are very beautiful people.
Yes,
Ah,
we
I
are.
yeah.
have to
We
disagree
are
with you there,
We're
supermodels.
fucking gorgeous.
I have to disagree with you there, buddy. I look like
I can
Oh,
smell
you know-
the lies. I can smell it. Arkin, you're beautiful, man. Don't worry.
Oh,
I think
look, man.
you're handsome.
Dude,
Okay, I love your
I-
glasses.
dude.
You have wonderful hair, Arkin.
You're beautiful if you're
Can't
fat,
you
okay?
see?
I have.
You're everything I've
I
hoped
am
for.
I have enough weight that I literally have tits, dude.
Alright, look. Okay.
Dude,
that-
tits
that-
are great, man.
jiggle.
Tits are fucking brilliant. What do you mean?
Okay,
Tits
okay.
are great.
That-
I love
that actually-
tits.
That actually segues us.
Segue.
That
Yeah,
actually segues
perfect
us into this
segue.
next topic, which is the effects of fat shaming on someone's will to lose weight or make progress
Okay.
on themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna talk.
I
about
just, mate,
I
I
have
love tits,
very
okay?
strong
Anyone who's fat out
opinions
there,
about
I
that.
love tits. Great.
Thank you.
I have very strong opinion about that, and I'd like to start if you'd let me.
Go on.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, go
So-
on, go on.
I know it's kind of like a joke between me and my friends, you guys, that oh, I'm fat, I'm not beautiful, I'm ugly because I'm fat. But I don't really think about that. If you're like a little bit fat, like a little bit overweight, like you got a little bit of a stomach, you got a bit of tummy, and maybe like if you're a dude, you got like small titties. I think that's fine. you should probably work out a little bit more. I know I definitely should, but
Health
it's
purposes.
Fine. It's fine. But if you look like a manatee grew legs and started waddling around on land, there is a problem. Okay? People aren't calling you fat to be mean. Well, I mean, obviously you are going to have people that call you fat just because they're mean. I mean, they're called assholes, and everyone has to deal with them. You're not special.
Yeah.
That's kind
But
of
Yeah.
the
Bullies.
reason why
Bullies
a lot
mostly.
of people are calling you fat is because they're trying to tell you, hey, you're gonna die if you stay like this.
That
You
is
have to, like, make a change, or
That-
you're gonna die in, like,
that
the
is-
next 3 years.
that is true.
Of, like, some heart disease. Or you're gonna
Okay,
get
but,
so
like-
fat you can't even walk anymore.
That is true.
Yeah, Franco?
But like the thing, like the point that I want to bring up is that should not be an excuse to dehumanize someone. I see so many people like going to fat people and just straight up dehumanizing them, telling them the worst thing. I've been a victim of it. I mean, like not quite as much. Like I was never like obese. I've only ever been really chubby, but like I've felt that like, man, am I really like less of a person, less of a human for being just a bit tubby, not looking quite as skinny, not fitting into this like image that like society projects onto it, and like that's just wrong. Like, sure, it could pose a health risk, and you should bring that up to that person in the most constructive way possible, but never ever dehumanize them just for
Well, you see,
something that's out of their control. Because like there are multiple reasons for someone being overweight. One could be genetics. Two could be stress. Like stress can have an effect on weight. 3 could be
Even depression, I think. Yeah.
exactly
Yes,
depression. 3 could be they could be on antidepressants even. They could be on medication that just causes that sort of weight gain in them. Or 4, maybe like I don't know, maybe eating just brings a certain joy to them that they like it's their refuge. I've definitely had that. Like eating is my refuge sometimes. And like you deal with those first. You don't jump straight to like, oh, you're a fat piece of shit, you should die. I've seen people on Facebook who've been like that. Like they
No tact. No
Like-
tact. Yeah.
no tech. Like they just go like, oh, they should die if they don't want to. Like they're just a waste of space. Is basically what they say. And that's just so wrong. Like, first of all, consider the fact that
Yeah.
those comments
They're
affect
really mean and hurtful.
they're mean and hurtful, and they demotivate the guy or the girl, and they will make
Yeah, you're doing more harm than good, actually. Yeah.
yeah, because it all starts in the head. It all really does start in the
Mhm.
head.
It does.
Yeah.
I feel like I've got to say something because,
Yeah?
Franco, I mean, ever since we were younger, I have always made, like, I mean, I guess it's a really terrible, right, thing, but I hope I've never made you feel dehumanized by the jokes that I've ever said personally to you, because I think, like, we've all joked and we've all made fun of us. Like, I think you guys make fun of how
Oh, yeah.
hairy I am and, like, all that stuff. And, you know, we make fun of someone else how you know, chubby Franco is and all that stuff. And I
How
hope
sweaty
we've
I
never
am,
made...
all that stuff.
yeah. And I hope we've never made each other. I think we all, because we're friends and because we know our standing and we can communicate with each other, it's probably easier for us to make each other realize when we're going too far. But I hope that anyone who's listening to this, it's, you know, always better to communicate. Like, if it's going too far, like Franco's told me sometimes that, like, okay, this is where I'm going too far when I'm making fat jokes, and I am sorry for that. You know, because he knows that it's all a joke. He knows that I don't really think he's that fat. Franco's actually not that fat. He's never really been that fat. As Arkin was saying, like, there's some Maury Povich, Jeremy Kyle people in the world. Like, he's never been to that level, and that's, you know, just I've never wanted to insinuate that, and I understand there's differences and you know, reasons why people do it. But for anyone who's listening to this, it's always best to just communicate with people,
Yeah.
to just try to tell them, like, okay, this is going too far. Even if it's your mates, even if it's people who you're familiar with, it's still good to communicate. Even if it's not about being fat, even if it's about, with Johan about his, sweat gland problem or whatever it is, it's just good to communicate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there are boundaries within our friendships. That's fine.
Well, I mean-
This is a very sensitive topic. I think. I know. I definitely know that this is a sensitive topic for many people. And one thing I want to point out is, I guess, how how people avoid this, or there's a certain discourse that I see where someone is going to point out that this person is being unhealthy by being, obese, being overweight to that level, and they're going to say, you proclaim that you're pointing this out because you care about this person's health, but if they do things that are unhealthy, that fit to your standard of beauty, such as starving themselves, the exact opposite.
Right.
We have some anorexics over here.
Yeah.
Then you're not going to be as gun-ho as if they were overweight. And I think that's a stigma, that's a bias that I think should be pointed out as well.
So sometimes it can be an excuse,
Some people are, like what Arkin mentioned earlier, some people really are just assholes. Some people really do just want to fat shame, and sometimes they use that as the excuse, because if they really were caring for the other person's health, then no matter what eating disorder you have, they're all valid. And we're all just here to look out for each other and to try to have good quality of lives.
I think also about like the whole because we're lads here, right? Like we're all good friends,
we're lads.
And I think it's like we're able to make jokes that are not serious with each other, and I think there's a level that you've got to understand, especially with people you don't know on the internet.
Yes. Yes.
Like they're not your friends,
Yes.
like they're not just people who are going to understand irony and things like that in the same way that your mates will, So you've really got to, gauge the room, like understand who it is you're talking to and what they're going through, what they might not be going through, what they might be going through. You don't know, so it's just good to not be a prick, not be a cunt
Just
on the
don't
internet.
be an asshole.
Man, that is exactly what I was gonna bring up. Yeah, don't be an asshole. That is.
Because we're friends. Again, with Franco, he can communicate with me. Like I can be a dick sometimes. You guys can be dicks. It's fine. We're all
We have that
dicks,
rapport.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah, we all have the capability to
Yeah.
be dicks to each other. Yeah, I mean that's just how we are.
Yeah,
But
we
if-
love dicks.
But the problem is that this happens so often on the internet, and I think it's such an easy place to just get demotivated and to tell people, things which are just
Yeah.
kind of scummy,
Because it's
really,
behind a screen.
So
Yeah.
yeah. That's the problem, really. Like, people hiding behind a screen, that's not just a problem with this as well, it's just a problem with everything. Like, on
Everything.
football Twitter, on K-pop, whatever Twitter, like, it's such a problem. People hiding behind screens and telling people that, repulsive stuff that they would never say in real life. They would never say these things in
No.
real life.
Oh yeah,
Imagine
you can
someone
bet that
like, saying,
these people were in a party and they could see who they're actually talking to, get to see their facial expressions.
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
They'd chicken out.
They would
Hands down.
not.
they'd feel more empathy,
Yeah.
like they'd feel more empathetic and they would actually care. And if they didn't, then they're sociopaths, probably. Like, come on, you just shouldn't feel that way. You shouldn't talk that way to people who you don't even know. It's mental.
Empathy.
Well, I
it's a
mean-
skill. Practice.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, that is true. Like the internet, it does play like a huge role to like these people, and it, like the negative comments and like the negative stigma is like, it can really be like really demotivating. Like, I'm just gonna like go out on a tangent here. You guys can like tell me if you want me to stop or something. But like, I have both seen and experienced how these like stigmas, how these like negative comments can affect people, and it can really like ruin people's like self-perception and like their own like self-worth and their own self-esteem. It can
Yeah,
like
happened to
make a
Franco.
person feel really terrible, like what Franco said. And it's sometimes, I had a point with this and I forgot where I was going.
Just take your time.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's alright, man. It's alright, go on.
It's just
We love
like,
you, Arkin. We do.
if
Love
you
you.
We
don't-
love you, Arkin.
We
It's
do.
like that old proverb. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything.
Don't say anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because like, I have like experienced times where I just look at myself and I just feel terrible, just because of the way I am. Whether it be because I feel like I'm way too fat, or I feel like lads, I gotta admit something to you guys.
Sure, man,
Sometimes
sure.
I feel bad about the fact that I am a dude. Because
Okay.
it's not that I believe in like the whole like echo chamber thing of like all men are trash and stuff like that. I don't believe that. No, that's just like a few bad apples being used to misrepresent the entire collective. But just because of how many times you hear it, just like repeated over and over.
It makes you feel bad about yourself, even if you're not
Honestly,
part of that.
no,
Even
honestly,
if you
I
don't
can.
believe it. It just starts to affect you, man. You know.
Yeah,
these
honestly, I can
people who
relate
are fat shaming
completely.
and
Yeah.
just for the fact of fat shaming, these even if the overweight people don't really believe what they're saying, they know, oh, they're just internet trolls. Still, it's gonna pile on again and again and again until eventually they just like start to feel terrible about themselves. And it's not that. I mean, I said that if you are like morbidly obese, you need to like, you know, probably go on a diet or something like that, but I don't mean it in a negative way.
Right.
I am genuinely concerned about those people who are more than 1,000 pounds, about those people whose lives are being put at risk, because I believe life is something precious, and there are problems that are caused that cause this like weight gain and this like overeating.
And the same
And-
works in reverse as well, just as a disclaimer. Not eating
yeah,
enough.
not eating
just
enough
as
and-
just as dangerous, just as important to take care of because of your health. The only reason why we were mentioning fat shaming in the beginning was because Franco
It's the
wanted to
most
share his
common.
own experience. Yes, it is very
Yeah,
common.
it absolutely goes both ways.
Yes, and we have
But
two
it
people
does go
here who
both
have
ways. It's a
personal
double-edged
experiences.
sword.
Yeah.
I
Just
have
disclaimer.
heard a lot of stories about people who are anorexic, people who like would eat food and then like force themselves to throw it up because they thought they were going to gain weight. But it's, I know this is going to be hard for a lot of people to believe, but it's fine. Not everyone is going to be the knight in shining armor or the princess in the tower. Not everyone's going to have like rock hard pecs and luscious arms and
Wait.
What the fuck?
I'm gonna die.
What the fuck?
okay, wait,
No, don't
stop,
timestamp
stop.
that. Keep that in. That's brilliant, man. That's great.
Okay, stop.
Wonderful.
That was
That's-
a raw
I mean,
moment right there.
No, I think about arms too, and I just go like, oh my god, yes, arms.
I could
oh
feel
my
like
God,
Arkin,
I fucking-
Arkin was drooling on his mic. Arkin was drooling
my
on his
God, guys.
mic at
Oh my
that
God.
moment.
You know what? Mood.
But like, you're not gonna be able to
Dude,
get there.
have you
You're
seen
not
have
gonna
you
be
have
able
you
to get,
seen
like-
Chris Evans' perks, man?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, don't bring Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth into the talk, man. Like
James
oh,
McAvoy in that?
Oh, not James McAvoy. Oh, please. Okay, back on.
Oh,
back
As
my
you're
on-
saying,
back on
Arkin,
topic.
yeah.
You're never going to be like get that perfect image. You're never gonna get that perfect like hourglass or those perfect like your like arms as big as tree trunks.
Yeah, no,
That's
it's all
just like
unrealistic,
it's unrealistic. So it's important to just like do what you can. Just like take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Eat
Or
when you
specifically,
want-
it's more
eat when
realistic
you
for
need
other
to
people
eat.
than for others. Yeah.
Okay.
Do that
The,
ex-
the gist is, do it for you. Don't do it for
Yeah.
society. Don't do it for anyone else. Do it for you.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, it's
I can-
your
you
life
brought
and
up a
you have to
point,
enjoy it.
do
Arkin,
it for
you brought
If
up a
you're
point,
healthy is overweight by society standards, but it actually is healthy for you, then do it. Same
Yeah.
with being a bit thinner than what society standards is.
Yeah.
So long as you're sure that it's healthy for you.
Yeah, within
and-
reason.
Yeah, and within reason, then go for it. You don't need anyone telling you what to do or what to be.
Arkin, you brought up a point about feeling guilt just as a man, and I feel like that's one thing that, you know, like as a last thing to just add on to this cake of a like cherry on top of a conversation. It's
This
like as I think we can all probably relate to this, but as blokes, or at least as a bloke, I'll speak personally. I have felt guilt a lot of the time because of how terrible some men, in fact, probably most men, probably are, and the way that we think. You know, then how trivial and how base and how, you know, just really scummy some blokes can be in the world, and
there
I
are some real scumbags out there.
Oh, for sure.
yeah, definitely. And I just, you know, I understand the feeling of guilt for for being a part of something, even if you can't control it. You know, it's something that I've never engaged in. I don't think anyone here has ever engaged in that sort of scummy behaviour. I don't think any of us are like that intrinsically, but we still feel guilt anyway. And I feel like that's good in a way, because that makes us realise. Yeah, that shows we're empathetic. That also shows that we want to change, you know, what's going on in the world, and we want to somehow commit to.
Keeps us going against the grain that makes us guilty.
We want to be better.
Yeah.
We want to be better.
Yeah, we want to be better than those men. Yeah. But it is difficult feeling guilt, because that can lead to a lot of depressing thoughts. It's feeling guilt for something that you are incapable. For something that you didn't do, actually, not incapable of controlling, but for something that you didn't do in the first place.
I don't think gets mentioned enough, because one of the main narratives for this whole discussion of all men, not all men, is that you shouldn't feel guilty if you're not part of it. Well, it's strange to say, but even if you really aren't part of it, you still feel somewhat guilty because you were still associated with that, with that group.
It's a natural inclination that you should feel guilty. You know, like that's the nature of empathy, really.
It's also kind of, I can't really fault people who are like coming up with these conclusions, because it's rooted in psychology. We remember the negative things more prominently than we do the positive things.
Yeah.
Like, you're not really going to recall that, like, one time this guy helped you, like, carry your bags or something like that because they were too heavy. You are going to remember the time some guy was being a jerk to you because your bags were too heavy. And you're gonna get mad about that.
You're not.
Just because there are a few bad examples or like a few negatives that are loud and stick out, doesn't mean that everything is like that.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's just a duty. I think it's more so than anything just the duty to want to do better.
Yeah.
And I think that is how we should harness that guilt.
I'll
Because women, I mean, let's be honest, guys. I think this is another topic we've got to talk about. But women have had a bad week or like couple of weeks in the last it's been really terrible. I mean, the whole Meghan Markle thing, there was a protest in the UK where people were doing a vigil.
And
people doing a vigil for it.
I think I've heard of that.
There was a woman who was peacefully protesting, and she was taken aside and just killed.
Absolutely.
And the police said it was because it was a massive gathering and it was a protest. Literally the week before, Rangers Football Club won the Scottish Premier League, and thousands of fans outside Ibrox Stadium celebrating with no social distancing. The police did not care. This protest about women's rights, the police somehow cared enough.
It wasn't necessarily just about women's rights. It was about someone who died, and they were trying to give homage to someone who passed away. And again, Franco said the week before there was like a football thing where fans just were on the streets, not social distancing at all, just doing whatever they wanted, and there was no police at all. So it's really a double standard.
It was socially distanced, and it was peaceful.
Yeah,
So
women for all the for all the precautions that they do, for all the movements seen social media, all of it 100% justified. The bit that we did earlier, which is how we react, it's just how we personally react to it. I guess us feeling guilty despite us not directly being a part of it. And that's because how we want to be better than the group that these movements are associated with.
Yeah,
but I do think that this should definitely be an entire podcast episode on its own.
Yeah.
Very, very meaty stuff here.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is getting
a lot of topics to
But
discuss.
it's topical, right? This is a topical thing.
Yeah, it is getting a bit long now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, we ready
Yeah, we should
to
definitely-
sack it off?
Yeah, no, this is the final episode. Yeah. Sack it all off.
Yeah, thanks. Welcome. You're on the final episode, Arkin. Congratulations.
Yeah, how do you feel?
Oh wow, this is quite the honor.
But yeah, Arkin, thank you for being here for this recording.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man. Thank you.
No
You have been
problem
great.
at all, dude.
And thank you.
You did
again for-
good. You thought you didn't do. You thought you wouldn't do well, but you did fucking.
You
You
did
did
great.
pretty good, mate.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you did wonderful.
Well, I mean,
So
if
don't
there's
beat
one
yourself
thing I'm
up
good
over
at, it's talking.
Yeah, and that's why we
And
knew
I'm
the
pretty
Yeah.
sure if any of you became my roommate, you would be able to attest to that.
What do you mean?
But
We can
thank
attest to
you.
that right
I think we
now.
should-
I can definitely tell you that.
Hey, there are
Yeah, but
a
thank you.
lot of things I talk about. Just like even to myself, like if you
Oh, yeah.
lived with me, you'd like just hear me talking so much, dude.
Oh yeah.
We'd go mad.
Probably.
Wake up. Well,
You'd wake up at like 3 a.m., go to the kitchen to get some water. I'd be standing there talking to myself like a madman in the dark.
Like Saruman or something, just trying, like talking to a Palanta, whatever that was.
very relatable.
But some interesting points you brought up, Arkin, earlier, so it was very nice that you
Yeah.
got to be here to record with us. So yeah,
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
thanks for
Yeah.
being
Well, if
here.
you ever
and-
want to invite me back on again, I'd gladly
Oh,
join you.
sure,
Yeah.
absolutely, no problem.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Yeah.
And to
anyway.
the
All right, guys.
listeners, thank you for listening. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
doing the one thing you were supposed to do.
Thank you for listening. You have used your ears.
Yeah, good job, guys. Listening.
used your ears
Fucking
to try to
well
losers.
done, well done.
And it is
Well done.
paid
Here's
off
your medal
in the
for
end.
listening.
Here's your listening medal.
And that was GripesCast. Thank you again.
Thank you. We will see
Bye-bye-bye.
you maybe next week. Goodbye.
We will see you in the next episode. Yep. Goodbye.
Bye.